morning, Roxy Soxy.
Good morning, Tam Tam. We're finally on the same continent.
We're in the same continent and we are back. I've had so many DMs like, are you guys done? And I was like, oh, I didn't know you guys cared. Like, maybe we should go on hiatus a lot more often.
Oh, that's so funny.
I know, it's like riding a bike again. Like we took a little minute and now we're refreshed and we're ready.
Although I don't know how to ride a bike, Roxy. So you're gonna
No, you don't. Are you serious?
Know that? Don't you know that? I feel like it's the only thing. No, there's a lot of things I don't know how to do. But that is a main one. I don't know how to ride a bike. Yeah. I mean, I gave up. Yeah. My father didn't push it and I blame him to
You're like, I still blame him.
It's all my trauma that I talk about in therapy because my father didn't ride a bike. But no, I don't know how to ride a bike. So maybe it's like getting back it's like getting back to sex after you have had a baby. How about that?
Yes. It's a little painful at the beginning, but once you get in, you're in.
Once you get into it, you're like, I like it. Why don't we do this more often?
I am just so excited to be back because I've definitely missed you.
I missed you too. Boo. And I'm grateful for our next guest. You know, it's funny because I used to like stalk her so much that like, I think even in a time when I was like going through like a really crappy comparison stage and like, I was like, oh, I should go through my list and like unfollow all the people that make me feel bad about myself. And I came across her and I was like, well, she's really hot and she's really beautiful and funny, but there's something about her that I think like, I feel like we could be friends. So I'm going to keep her on my Instagram list. So I'm going to stay following her. And yeah, she's gotten me through a lot of hard shit.
Yeah.
And, I think sometimes you have to laugh through all the pain, right? That's what we do. And there's been a lot of pain since the last couple of years. And, I've had 2 kids and you've had a kid. So she's definitely made me feel less alone, less isolated, less, in my mothering journey as well. So who do we have on, Roxy Soxy?
Well, you're right. She definitely gives that magic. She makes us all feel less alone and she's so fucking funny. So we are so excited to welcome actress, New York Times bestselling author, mom, the woman, the myth, the legend, Jenny Mollen.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me. Wow, what an
here.
Intro. I'm just so flattered.
It is true. Are you in your bedroom right now? Because I love these.
Yeah, I'm on the floor in my bedroom. I have nowhere better to like set up a shop. I actually turned my office into a pantry because I needed to store more food in my apartment. So
my husband, so we moved to Nashville and he's all about like, he was an only child and he always needs his like space. And so he turned our pantry into his office and it's the size of a pantry. Like it's
he went the opposite direction.
Yeah. So now he's got this tiny little office and like he sits there with the one dog and like, he's so happy, like writing his stuff. So
how sweet. Oh my gosh. Cute.
Were you really stuck in an elevator coming here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got stuck in an elevator coming here. I was like, I'm going to be late to this thing. Like I had seen, and then I saw your Instagram story and you looked so pretty. And I was like, I look like shit. I just keep having a zit injected at the dermatologist. Like this is really not a great first impression. But yes, I was. And now I'm out. Thank God.
What is your worst fear, Roxy? Because that honestly, that and flying. So flying and being stuck in an elevator are my 2 worst fears, and being poisoned, but that's but what is your worst fear?
Okay. My worst fear, and you know about this, is the fear of death. Like I am petrified of like dying and like the finality of it and like what's coming next. Like,
but that's like a very age appropriate fear. Like that sort of took over my fear when I was younger. Was like, I'm going to be abducted by aliens. I'm going to be kidnapped and taken across the border and like sold as a sex slave in Mexico. Those were my like childhood fears. I had like a rocky. I mean, there were
very normal childhood.
No parental supervision. But now it is. Now it's like, oh my God, I have this disease. I have this disease. The wheels are falling off, and it drives Jason fucking crazy. He's like, "Can you get back on Zoloft already? Because I can't live with you this way."
I mean, my husband is always like, let me guess, you're going in for another medical test? Because I have medical anxiety, and it's like, he's like, let me guess, you're going in for another MRI. I'm like, maybe.
I'm going to show you my email. I just wrote pap smear, like last night at 1:02 because I was like flicking through TikTok and this poor lady was like, I've got 5 kids and I've got a year to live. The problem with TikTok is because of the algorithm and the For You page, you watch those all the way through and literally the entire thing is, you know, people who are coming to the end of their lives through cancer. And so if you watch one of those videos, that is what they will recommend to you, Jenny.
Whoa, I cannot be on TikTok. I mean, literally, I just had a pap smear. I left. Everything was fine. I left my doc, and then I got an email like a week later, and it was like everything's normal. And I'm like, hold on. When I left, I thought everything was fucking normal. You mean I had pending tests for a week and I didn't stress out about it? I mean, that was a missed opportunity. I would have been like in a fucking spin.
I know.
Who knew?
And it gets so much worse too. I don't know if you guys feel this way, but once now I've had kids, you know, it's like, it just like builds up and it's like even worse, the paranoia and like the fear, you know?
No, I mean, like, I don't know about you guys, but I like kept my kids home all last week.
Oh, I know.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I just wasn't ready.
It really did. It affected so many of, you know, all my friends are moms and my daughter's at a camp up the road and I don't care. My husband has sat at that camp for 2 days straight. Like he sat there, like he's, you know, they're in their room and they're playing and they're doing dodgeball and all that. And he's sitting in the office outside and she's very frustrated that she sees him. And I'm like, I would rather her be frustrated and feel safer, especially with what's going on. He feels safer. And my poor husband, like, what's he going to do? Like, he's, you know, he doesn't have like a weapon on him, but you know, I don't know. It's just for my own peace of mind that I feel like if anything happened that he would, at least I would trust that he would try everything he could to get in there.
Oh yeah. I'm like, bring you the fucking bullets on. I don't care. Like I'm going to be charging. There's nothing. I mean, or I'd be like in like police, you know, I'd be the one in the handcuffs with like pepper gas in my face. I don't know, but like I would at least go down with a fight.
Yeah. How tragic that those parents had to take it into their own hands, you know, and just try to storm the building and save their kids, you know?
No, at night I think about it over and over again, as if like thinking about it, I can like undo it somehow, you know, it's like that kind of trauma that you just like keep replaying I don't know. It may, like, I look at Canada and Australia and it's like, when did like America become such a third world country? I mean, it's insane right now. The things that are being like just overlooked.
And it's not even logical. For me, it's like not even logical to be able to have a weapon that the only sole intent is to cut through flesh. That is it. There's not, and you know, it's not for hunting. It's not for self-defense. No. I'm not even, I don't even like gun culture in general. Like I come from Australia, so I actually didn't ever see a gun until I came to the States. Like, you know, and we didn't ever even heard about it. There's not even been one report, like I think it's been 20 years since the last shooting.
Yes. I mean, doesn't that tell you everything?
Yeah. I mean, you know, and so like to actually be able, like I said to my husband the other day, I said, you know, that little old Tammin could go today and buy a military style weapon. Like I could go and buy one. He's like, yeah, I guess that's strange. I'm like, it's very strange. I don't know how to use it. Yeah. Like, I don't know what I'm doing with it.
Totally.
Yeah.
You know? So
it's so scary. And it's just like so sad that I don't know. I don't know that, I don't think that this should be like an issue with sides. I don't, that's the thing that really baffles me, because even my friends who support the Second Amendment are kind of the same mind that this is out, it's gotten out of control here. But again, like the Second Amendment, it's like, guys, we know at this point, like nobody's really taking the Bible literally, are they? Like, why are we taking this so literally? Yes, like, sure, you can have you have the right. Yeah, you have the right to bear arms, but we're not saying you have the right to fucking have like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Mad Max fucking house. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, they like the whole issue needs to be re-examined for sure, and like they need to, you know, we need to come up with solutions because these kids are dying, you know.
No, it's beyond sickening.
Yeah.
To start off on like such a bummer topic.
I know. And we're done. I want to know more about you. You were born in Arizona. That's correct, right?
Yes. This is a nice way to start. Let's just start here.
You went to UCLA, right? So you left Arizona and moved to UCLA to go to college. Were you always interested in the arts in some way? Was it
yes.
Like, when do you remember that passion? Was it from when you were like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or did it grow as you got older?
Well, my sister's always like, Jenny, you were always a fucking actress. She's like, we would get $250 allowance, and I would go to the store to buy like these like Asian paper masks that like were different people, and I would make her pretend that I was her foreign exchange student that was like living with her, and she would buy Lee press-on nails. I mean, like that is truly us in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Like all I ever wanted to do was like make believe, tell stories, like I don't know, escape what was happening around me. But then, and then I got into theater. Probably it was like the beginning of like around like 7th grade. I did my first show, and I was like, oh my God, wait, there's a job where my parents will have to sit in a dark room and listen to me talk for 2 hours. I want to do that.
Gold.
Yeah, that was like when I knew, and that was and it just like took hold. I mean, I was obsessed. And then I did theater all through high school, and at some point, broke the news to my doctor father that I was going to major in theater, and not like, I mean, it was all like downhill from there.
What was like early family life like for you? Like, what was like the dynamic? Like
it was like, have you ever seen the movie Mermaids with Cher?
Yeah.
So my mom is like Cher, and I guess I'm Winona. It was very wild. I mean, it was very, at 15, she said, you're going to need to get a fake ID if you want to keep hanging out with me. It was like that type of vibe.
Wow.
We should like take us to nude beaches when we were really young and be like, what's the problem, guys? Why are you so prude?
I'm like that with my kids. I'm like, we're always naked, and my husband's like pulling down all the blind.
Yeah.
Just a body. I'm like, we talk about guns all the time. Who cares? It's just a body. It's just a boob. Like, who cares?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So like, it was fun, but it was very like, I mean, again, like it wasn't the safest of environments for a child.
So when you started, falling in love with the arts, did you feel, like for me, I kind of felt like I could do anything when I was a child actor. I started at 16 in Australia on a TV show out there. And I felt like, I was so in love with the being, an actress, and I kind of felt like I could do anything and I could do no wrong. And then at some point I started to compare myself. And at some point, the pain and the comparison and the I'm not good enough and the self-esteem kind of all sort of started to take a dive. Did you experience that in LA when you first started, or did you just kind of were like balls to the wall, like, this is what I want to do, this is what I love, and like, fuck you all, I'm going to be successful?
I mean, no, you have to have some like, you have to be delusional to like want to be an actor in general. Like you have to truly like believe your own like bullshit on like such a deep level. So I had that going for me, but I also had already experienced so much rejection in my life that it almost felt like the rejection, not that it felt comfortable, but that like it was expected in some way. And so for me, I mean, it's very alcoholic, like just LA in general.
Yeah.
And I think that the rejection really fueled me. Like I am a person who, when you tell me no, it makes me push harder. And I became anorexic. Like I definitely like hated myself and went through like the comparison things as well. But the pain is like what defined me and drove me to like get to where I am now. I mean, like I started tweeting because I was so frustrated playing roles that I hated, or being, just like these thankless female sidekicks. And the rage is what made me funny. So in a way, it's like, I don't think I would have wanted it any other way. But I look back and I'm like, God, like there was a time in my life when all I wanted was just like my face on a billboard on like La Cienega and like a sugar-free frozen yogurt punch card from Big Show. Like that was my goal. And like, now I'm like, that's so small. That's such a small goal. Like, why was I believed, like I fell into this, like I don't know, the mind fuck of Hollywood, where I was like, I'm only as good as the last pilot I shot.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I don't give a fuck about acting. I'm like, acting, like that's only like one small like piece of the puzzle. I with the books, I feel so free because I'm like, I am the master of this entire universe. I'm playing every role. I'm deciding what happens next. Like, it is so fucking great. Like, going from such a career that was so ephemeral and so just like, you know, maybe you'll get the part, maybe you won't. So like having it exactly as I want it, and it's in my hands and I can hold it, and it's tangible and it's there forever. Like, that for me is control. It's everything. It's control on like the ultimate level.
So how did you kind of make that jump from acting to writing? Like, was there something like a project that you had in mind, or like, how did that like transpire?
Well, okay. So I got my first agent off of a one-woman show that I wrote at UCLA. So like, I kind of was, I guess, a memoirist even then. But I never like thought I could be a writer. I mean, I again, like, I was like dyslexic. What was I gonna? There's no way I was going to attempt to be like, you know, so I would have never done that. But I started tweeting, and at that time in LA, like, it really, there was this democratization of comedy where like women voices were being sort of lifted up. And you could get seen. So all of a sudden, it's like I had like accrued this following, and it was like pretty substantial people were following me, and that was just shocking. It's how I met Lena Dunham. It's how I met Jenny Connor. It's how like I met Danny Zucker, and you know, there was like Jenny Johnson, who's hysterical. Kelly Oxford was there. It was just like a group of us that kind of were part of this movement. And what happened was they were like getting book deals. And I was really good friends with Chelsea Handler because I had shot a movie with her when I was 26 that my dog also starred in. And I had seen Chelsea do it. And I was like, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool if I could like, I had all these crazy stories. Like, what if I could like write a book one day? I mean, that would be just so cool. And so after a year of, you know, well, no, it was after a few years of tweeting and a year of writing for Playboy Online. I was writing these short stories. I was like, I think I have enough material that like, I should just send out a book proposal. And that book became my Like You Just the Way I Am. So that's kind of how it happened. And it was so like, again, like my journey was fraught with rejection, constant no's. It wasn't that easy at all, but like, for whatever reason, the opportunity presented itself. And like, believe me when I tell you, like, I was so eclipsed by my husband, who was like already famous, who like, I resented him for being famous. I hated the fact that like, I was like 28 and hot and would walk into a room and like only all they wanted to do was like take a photo with him. But like, I don't know. I mean, it's so funny because, and for all the people listening, I can just tell you, I can assure you that like, if you just keep beating the pavement and like follow your path, like it will find you. Like what you are supposed to do will fucking find you. And there were so many times where like, I was like, I cannot, but why is this not working? Like, why am I so close on every part and like, just like not getting them, you know, things like that, things I wanted just like didn't manifest. But like what's happened now in retrospect is so much fucking better than anything I could have like imagined. That like, thank God that I just wish somebody had told the young me, like, shut the fuck up. You're going to be fine. Just follow it. Just trust the process. Trust your path.
I think it's inspired action though, because, you know, like what you're saying, I got so frustrated. I'm in my later 30s now, and, you know, so close, always one of two, right? Always one of two. And it's always, you're not tall enough, skinny enough, you know, look like, you look like somebody that the director had an ex who he hates.
Yeah. Always something weird.
And you sit there and you go, but I feel like I'm good enough and I feel like I could, but something is blocking this manifestation of my own dream. And so we just started, my husband is a writer and a director. And we were like, fuck it, just do it yourself. It's inspired action, like be inspired and then actually make that first step. And it's hard. And you're constantly doubting yourself, and it's constantly your inner critique, right? Of like, you're never good enough. It's never going to, but then what the fuck do you have to lose? There's
nothing.
We don't know what's going to happen when we die. If we don't know like how the universe, how far it goes on, all these panic attacks we have about death is, you know, every time that I turn off the light, I think about, it's like, well, if we don't know, then at least put everything into it and then just see what happens. Right?
Oh my God, throw it all against the wall, because you really never know. And like the thing you're saying about, you know, I guess it's like one of two, one of this, one of that. It's like now being on the other side of it and like having cast people and things, and literally like I actually got to even like cast my dog, which was like amazing. It was a full-on casting couch situation. But you realize, oh my God, it's so not about you. Like when I see these people, I'm like, it's just an essence, like, you know, and they're all great actors. It's not even, that's the fucking mindfuck, because you grow up thinking like, well, only the best actress is going to get the lead in the play. But that's not how Hollywood works. And it's just, you know, it's like, do you want to gamble? Do you want to just ride it, or do you want, or if you want control, like you have to make your own shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And oftentimes we stand in our own way, you know, so we gotta unblock ourselves.
But I think that people think like, okay, I worried about that for so many years. I was like, I'm blocking my own way. Like it would happen if I was just more positive. If I just thought more positive about it. That's bullshit. No, it's not happening because it's not your thing. Something else is for you. Like you can't, like, don't drive yourself crazy with like, oh, I'm not manifesting it, or I'm not thinking right about it. Cause like all that secret shit it just made me crazy. And now I look back, I'm like, I was just torturing myself for no reason. Like it was just not how it was supposed to unfold for me. And thank God it didn't. Because the girls whose careers I wanted, the fucking actresses who I was like, I would kill to have that on Dexter. I would kill to have like booked that job on, you know, whatever it was. Now I'm like,
rules of engagement.
Right. I'm like, dude, I'm so fucking, thank God I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so much happier with like what I have now versus like, you know, whatever. So yes, I just think you have to know it's your thing is out there and there's nothing you can do to prevent it or affect it. Like you just have to move forward.
Just keep going. Well, let's switch gears a little bit because we all have our partners, but
why do I think that? That sound comes to my head when you and I talking about men?
Totally. Wow.
Have sex today? She calls me when she has sex. By the way, she's like,
I do. I'm like, hey girl, hey girl.
I love it. That's awesome.
So Jenny, you met your husband blind date, is that?
Yes, we met on a blind date.
Okay, blind date, and then movie happens, and then it's instant love. Is it like immediate?
It was actually again, like I guess this is a great like segue from what we were just talking about. But what happened was somebody said, you know, this guy wanted to date my sister, and he was repping the writer of the movie, and he said, your sister's an actress, does she want to come in on this Kate Hudson movie? And I had like a decent agent at the time, but nobody who was getting me a Kate Hudson movie, you know, second lead fucking audition. And I was like, yes, I'm coming in, I'll be right there. I went in and read. And then I like, you know, made it to the second round, whatever. And he was like, thanks for making me look good. Cause I mean, I could have sucked. He didn't know. And he said, you want to have the password to see the audition tapes, to see the other girls you're up against? And I was like, you think I want that? I mean, I've only been waiting my whole life for somebody to offer me the password. Yeah. So I'm sitting in my house, like smug as fuck, watching these girls, although the normal girls I was up against, like there were only like a handful of us.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling great because again, like I'm just seeing like, you know, the like myth is that they're like sprinkling pixie dust all over the room, but then you see their tapes, you're like, they didn't do anything that different. What? So that felt great and like life affirming. And then he said, while you're at it, we're choosing between two guys. One is this guy, Todd Grinnell, and one is this guy, Jason Biggs. And I was like, oh, well, you got to give it to Todd. Like, Jason Biggs, he's that guy from like those teen comedies, like fuck him, you know, he's already famous. Like I'm not famous. And like, I wanted to of course root for the underdog, just like, you know, projecting all my own bullshit onto the situation. And then I watched the tape and Jason was superb. Like truly is such a good actor. Like he's such a good actor. It's crazy. So, and he's so underrated. So I called the guy back. I was like, you got to give it to Jason. He's so talented. And like, I was a snobby theater major. I'm like, I didn't know he was good. I just assumed he was like a teen, whatever. And then, so like a couple weeks later, he called me and he's like, hey, would you go on a double date with me and your sister and Jason Biggs? And I'm like, wait, what? Like, that wasn't where I thought it was going at all.
Mhm.
But again, I didn't want to like fuck up my opportunity to be in this movie. And I was like, eh. So then
Do
I called
whatever
my
you gotta
sister,
do.
right? I'm like, what do I do? Like, I don't want to date an actor. And because I hadn't dated an
Mhm.
actor and I had been in the business long enough, like that I felt like pretty good about that.
Yeah.
I wore it like a badge of honor. And she's like, Jenny, just come. It's free sushi. So I went on the date. I met him. I was like, he's cool. We hit it off, but it wasn't like anything serious. I remember telling someone, I'm like, I mean, I like him. I mean, he's not the one, but like, he was nice. Hot two, we both ended up getting cast in the movie. And like, we were married 9 months later, 9 months after meeting. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So it was meant to be. I mean,
it was meant to be. And again, like, you cannot control, like, you know, your destiny.
I had this similar situation when I first met my husband. He was the director of the movie, and like, he actually, I think I told you this, Roxy, when we just moved from LA, we went through all our old memorabilia and all our old stuff in the garage, and he came across the cast list, and I was on it, right, of his movie, and he circled me and wrote, "She's the one." Right, for the movie. Like, I want to cast her for the movie. Okay. Circled. I'm gonna like frame it and put it next to the bedroom and be like, see, every time you fight with me, I'm just your fucking one. But I did not have that first spark at all. And then I remember we were doing like rehearsals, and he looked over and he was like looking at me really like not like a director. And I was like, oh, I think he's interested in me, which is so like, he was so much older. It was probably not the right thing. Like, now it would not have gone down well.
How much older is he?
He's 12 years older.
Okay. Oh, that's not bad.
Like, he's 34 years older.
my stepmom is only 7 years older than me, and they're like 30 some years apart. So I'm like, 12 seems like nothing. I'm like, yeah, that's normal.
I mean, it's weird because like, I think it's nothing until like recently I said to him, I'm like, oh, you're gonna die first. And like, that's really frustrating because now I'm gonna be like 76, I'm assuming, like 75, and be like, fuck, I've got to go like find another like date. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna have to go out on the market at like 76 when he's dead. So
hilarious.
Frustrating.
I love being like the young wife. Like, I feel like it's annoying that Jason's only a year older than me. I'm like, I want to feel like I'm just like young thing that you just like have.
When they get older, like Roxy, yours is a little older. They start to get like, oh, my back hurts. My leg. I've got still some zest left, you know. Like, I was like, hey, do you want to have sexy time? And he's like, and I was like, it was 10:30. So that's why it's better for you to be dating or married to someone who's a year older.
They really lean into their age like at a certain point. You know, it's like the back hurts, the headaches, you know.
Oh my God, that's funny.
So what is the secret to keeping a spicy marriage though?
Spicy? I don't know. My marriage has never been spicy. Like, I mean, I don't know. My first book, I talk about how like I hired this prostitute for Jason when we first met. And it's a comedy of errors. Like, it's very Larry David caper. It's not as odd as it sounds. Yeah, like, I don't know, guys. I'm not like, I'm left-handed. Like, I don't know if I could ever like give a good hand job. I mean, I'm not really somebody who knows how to be spicy because I have to undercut with comedy. He always used to be like, my wife is the best. She gives decent head. Decent. Are you fucking kidding? Yeah. So no, like, I don't know. It's never been spicy. It's just been fun. It's just been funny.
Yeah.
That's what carries you through though. It's like the fun times, right?
Totally.
It's like,
yeah, no, it's just hilarious over here.
Yeah. It's just like coming through like the pandemic too. You're just like, fuck, you know, like being on top of each other for years and years. It's like, you have to be able to laugh.
Exactly. I've lived on top of you. I don't want to be on top of you.
I don't know. I try to like do this, you know, I don't know, even if we don't want to, I try to at least once or twice a week be like, okay.
What? Once or twice a week?
I know. We had a fight last night because I'm like, you know, it's been like 8 days. So I think we're headed to the therapist.
No, I've never, Jason, I'm telling you guys, he has never once like tried to pressure me for sex, like, or ever said it's been however many days. No, we can go like a month or like a month and a half, 2 months without having
he
sex.
doesn't drop hints or anything. He's not like,
and we're so proud of ourselves when we have sex. We're like, oh, we're the best. I don't know. But like, I don't know. But again, like, I have like an over-sexualized mother. So like for me, like sex, there's like, I'm just like not.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard for me to like get like, it's just not like my love language. You know, some people it truly is. For me, I prefer gifts.
Me too.
I think it's just for me, it's like feeling grounded. Like the world is so out of control and there's nothing for me that feels more vulnerable. And I spend my whole life trying not to be vulnerable. And so it's even, sometimes it's hard for me to get into the whole vulnerability of sex, but when that's happening, I feel really connected to my partner on a level that doesn't happen when we're not having sex.
Oh my God, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're really hot. I would want to have sex with you all the time too.
Oh, that's so I'm available when you're in Nashville.
She can make it happen.
I can make it happen.
I'll be there on the 17th.
Now that you're talking about vulnerability, you know, it's an interesting question because I also have like a really hard time being vulnerable just in everyday life with my partner. Yes. In general, I find that I can only really be vulnerable with my daughter. Interestingly enough. Yeah, like with my kids, it feels safe, you know, the whole bit. So how about you? Is it easy for you to kind of get to that level of like being vulnerable?
No, I'm always like 1 foot out. Like Jason's like, are you like in this character? I'm like, I love you, but like if you left me or died, I'd be fine. And he's always like, what the fuck? No, like he goes away. Again, it's similar. You know, he'll be on a movie for a month somewhere else. And he's like, hello. He literally writes Jenny in caps, texts me over and over again, because when it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. It's just like like, I'm sure like a function of like my own, like, you know, childhood abandonment, but I just sort of like move on. So bad. When before we had kids, his sister was living with me in the summer and he was shooting like, I don't know, a movie actually in Atlanta. And he called, she's like, Jay, there's a guy, he's living here. He's wearing your bathrobe and he's doing jumping jacks out by the swimming pool and jump rope. Like, do you know who that is? And Jason called me. He's like, what? There's a guy living there? I was like, yes, I moved my acting coach David in. I feel safer at night, like with a man here. And he's like, Jenny. So
he's like, why didn't you tell me?
I'm like quick to like, just kind of, no, I don't know how to be vulnerable, guys.
I want to be more like you though. I think I do because like you know how you say like, you had a sense of abandonment. My mom was like always like there, right? Always helicopter. And I love her so much. If she listened to it, I love you, Mom. Please don't leave me. But she was constantly always there. I was very coddled, right? So I never really developed like sort of a sense of feeling safety just by myself. I always
totally.
I need other people around me to feel safe and grounded and better. Hence the sex thing. Yes. I need like outward intention for me to feel good. And that has been a huge growth for me over this last year because I did a TV show recently and I had to be away from my kids, be away from my husband. I would fly back on the weekends to see them, but it took a lot for me to feel safe and have that self-soothing talk. So I'd like to be more like that. I'd like to let my husband go and direct a film and let him for 5 hours, just like not even think about me. Cause every 5 hours I'm like, have you thought about me? And he's like, I'm just making sure that we make sure that we get the pages in the day. And I'm like, but me.
Wait, where were you shooting? How far away were you?
We're in Australia, but we're in 2 different states. And the problem is because of COVID, they had a massive outbreak. And so they'd shut the borders and they just, so there was a lot of fear and anxiety surrounded by, you know, the fact that the Australian government could pretty much shut the borders at any time. And if they did, we'd have to get the fuck out of there. Right. Like I'd have to scary stop and go. And so, you know, it took a lot for me to actually trust myself. Totally. And I think that that's the biggest journey that I'm on is just trusting myself, trusting that I'm enough. But I do say that if my husband leaves me, he has to do it soon because I feel like I have about 5 years left of like good stuff to like give to me.
Right. To like jump ship. I fully get you.
50, you know what I mean? Like just leave me in my you can leave me in my 40s, but like I still But no, that's my journey is just feeling, and maybe your journey is being more vulnerable with people. And
totally, I need to. But you know what's funny? Like you're saying this, and I'm like, shit. I'm really like, I'm taking a lot from this because, like for instance, my son, he still likes me to like sleep in his room at night or be there when he falls asleep. And I'm always like, I don't think this is good because I think that he needs to learn to self-soothe and know that he can fall asleep on his own. The reason I am there is because of course I was like left alone, like basically in a basement by myself to like go to bed at night with nobody tucking me in even. So I'm overcompensating and projecting like my own childhood shit onto him. But
Mhm.
really, I'm overcorrecting probably because I probably should let him try to fall asleep on his own so that he knows he can do it. I think that what you're saying
And he feels
is
safe.
really resonating with me, and I'm
But he feels safe, like, you know, that he feels safe with you. So it's okay for him to learn self-soothing techniques. My husband was a latchkey kid, right? He went in, he didn't see his mom until like at the end of the night. So he has the same kind of experience. But there has to be like some kind of middle ground where you teach your children how to self-soothe, but also they know that you're always going to be there for them. They know that you're not going to put them in a situation that is fearful and just abandon them. So, you know, I think we're all trying to deal with stuff from our childhoods, but yeah, it's kind of not trying to overcompensate with that, I think.
Yeah, do whatever
he
you
knows
do.
How to work me too. He's like, I just want to come in. I just want to talk about my feelings. I'm like, how am I going to say no to that?
Good.
Oh, he's so good. You guys have no idea. This kid is.
Whatever you do, do not fall into the trap. Do not fall into the trap that I did, where she now sleeps in the bed with us.
Oh my God, I've done it. Oh my God, girl, I've been there. I mean, now he's like, I prefer my bed is more comfortable. So now, guess what? I sleep in a fucking bunk. Like, that's the level.
I don't sleep with my kids, guys. I've made it such a important. And it's so like that's how you get more sex is like sleep with your husband at night, and we
maybe that's why I'm not.
Maybe you're having sex once a month because you're sleeping in a bunk bed. Maybe that's.
Could be true. That could be true. That could be true.
It's a slippery slope all around.
Oh, is it? I mean, it really is. It really is.
And we're so excited about the book. Hello, City of Likes, Jenny. Like, congratulations, girl. That's amazing.
That was a fucking marathon, man.
Yes.
That was like, you know, when we talk about like things not working out. That was like square peg, round hole from day one. Really? It has been a fucking journey. And like I rewrote it like 3 times before it was in any kind of shape that, you know, that it is now, I guess. But nobody wanted that book from me. Everybody thought I was going to write another memoir. Publishers, all the top publishers passed on it, which is why it feels so fucking good that it's going to be on shelves next week. And it is so like Jaws. This time it's personal because I'm like, cannot wait for you guys all to have this in your fucking faces. Cause like this book is my best book and you're lost. You're lost. You could have been on the boat. But instead, sorry.
Do you think, cause it does, you know, it speaks a lot to social media and of course City of Likes, like, I have a very big love-hate relationship with social media. I do a lot of business on social media. I work with a lot of brands. I'm very grateful too. But it also can suck my soul. And how is your relationship with social media and how do you not go down that dark rabbit hole? And maybe you don't, like me, who sits there like looking, deleting my friends.
No, I'll get on those deep scrolls where like all of a sudden the Instagram tells you you're all caught up. It's like somebody at a bar being like, you've had enough, ma'am. You know, I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same fucking thing. I do. And that's why I had to write this book. This book is like, so my most personal book, even though it's fiction, but it is my most personal book. And it is, I talked a lot about like, just like the missteps I've made along the way and sort of owning that and talking about how I feel like as a culture, it's such a pervasive, crazy thing that's happened to us as like specifically millennial moms, but like this addiction to this sort of need for external validation from total fucking strangers. Like, what are we doing? And I had to call it out because I'm fucking guilty of it. And I wanted to do that in a book that was like a bit of a satire, you know, like I poke a lot of fun at New York and the women that I've kind of come in contact with here, but it's a fairy tale, but it's a cautionary tale. And at the end of the day, I really hope that people walk away from it going, yeah, like if I'm so busy sort of presenting and curating my life online for other people, how present am I in my real life for the people that actually matter?
That's the scary part because it is like going down the slippery slope. And I'm also worried for our kids because, you know, now, I mean, I know when my daughter was 2, she knew how to like open the phone and like scroll through. And it's like, how also do we like make sure that our kids don't get into this crazy like comparison of like, you know, these strangers and social media and am I this and that? It's so scary, right? Not to mention who's on the other side of that. You know,
that's why I won't show my kids' faces. There's no fucking way. Like there's no amount of money. I won't do it.
Yeah. So you have a strict no show the kid, like not showing the kids. Okay.
Never. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my son's like, why is there a flame over my head? I'm like, I don't know. When I took the photo, that's just what the camera did.
I honestly think that I don't have an addictive personality. You would think that being a child actress that, you know, you get so much dopamine and so much serotonin, like constantly getting those huge highs and huge wins from such a young age that you search for it as you get older. And I'm grateful that I haven't fallen down in that path, but I definitely think I'm addicted to social media. And I think there are at times it is unhealthy for me and my relationships like you're talking about, but I can't stop, right? Like sometimes my kid will be right there, her beautiful 3-year-old face, and I'm looking at TikTok videos because, you know, not because it is my business. It's 50% of my business.
Yes.
But there is then they've gone into it on Netflix did a special on it. The way that they have designed these apps for our dopamine levels to get these quick fixes of being rewarded, right? So we're constantly thinking
it's
like
Pavlovic.
Sips of alcohol, sips of alcohol, and then all of a sudden you don't have your sip of alcohol, and I'm reaching for the phone because I need that dopamine rush again, and it's like I need to figure out, and maybe we all do in some way, like detoxes, just like we detox our body, just like we detox our minds, because I don't know, I feel like it's a very unhealthy path, and I suffer from it. That's my biggest struggle right now.
And then try to sell a book, like you're like I need it. It's like all about like why
you need social media.
You need Instagram to sell the damn thing. It's such a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's a total double-edged sword. So I heard Diablo Cody is part of this now. Like, how did that come about? Because you guys are adapting it for TV.
Yes.
Okay.
That happened because I've known Brooke for a long time, and her husband Dan, who I love, actually did ayahuasca with him and Chelsea.
That's
Handler.
No way.
Episode. Yeah.
And I called her. Actually, it was funny. I called her. This was, I don't know, early last year. And I was like, Brooke, I really want to have you and Dan on my podcast. My podcast is called Third Wheel. And I pry into like the private lives of couples, which is a lot of fun. And she goes, Jenny, Dan and I have been divorced for 2 years. I was like, what? That's what happens during the pandemic, right? They lose. They live in LA. She's like, it's all good. Like we're best friends still, yada, yada. And I was like, okay. Well, no worries. And she's like, well, what are you working on? And I said, I have this, Sony just optioned this, my book. And I said, I'm looking for a supervisor. I really want to find somebody. Who should I go out to? Like, who's right for me? Who would be great? And she's like, well, is this something that I would be right for? And I'm like, Brooke, you just got done working with Madonna. Like you're way. She's always been like, I've only known her as like Oscar award winning, right?
Yeah.
And so I've only known her as like major and totally like out of my league, and she's like, well, send me the book. And I didn't think anything of it, you guys. As you know, like being in LA, who thinks anything of anybody saying, send me anything? So I sent her the book and I went away and I was in Austria. My kids speak German and I speak German. So I go to Austria a lot. So I was in Austria over like the Christmas break and I got a text from her. She's just like, Jenny, I've always been a fan of your writing. This is the best thing you've ever written. And we'll get into the the supervising piece of it later, but I just want you to tell you this is like fucking gonna be a huge book. And I'm like, I like dropped the phone, like I couldn't even breathe, right? Like I just like, I'll never forget that moment, just standing there like with my like milk froth foamer from the morning. I'm like, oh my God, I'm vibrating. I'm like, oh God. And I waited and waited. And I told Sony, I was like, Brooke liked the book and I left it at that. And then they kind of urged me, they're like, well, ask her, if she'd want to supervise you, like, you're going to ask her, right? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And finally it was like down to the wire, like last minute, they're like, no, like you really need to ask her. Otherwise we're going to like start like looking for people for you. And I was just like, hey, Brooke, I came back. This was after New Year's. And I I just want to follow up. Like, I know you liked the book. And and she's like, Jenny, duh. Like, I fucking love it. Like, I'd be honored if you would have me. And I'm like, I couldn't even believe it was real. And until the deal like closed with lawyers and everything, I was just like, pinch me. Please don't wake me from this dream. I want to like just keep having this dream happen. And now like it's real and I'm
manifested it.
Couldn't be happier. Yeah.
Well, maybe you don't believe in manifesting, but you
I'm like, it
created it.
The work paid off. The work paid off.
Manifest and then inspired action.
Just work. Just keep working and it's going to happen for you.
Well, we never want you to leave, but we do have a never have I ever. Do you mind just playing?
Yeah, sure.
You can go and have your best life, live your best life, but please also let me know about Nashville because I really want you to come.
Come, please come. We're having like a big party. It's going to be fun.
I don't know. I haven't been invited to a party in Nashville yet. So.
I haven't been in Nashville since I shot a commercial there at like 19. So I'm really excited to like experience the town as an adult.
Okay. Never have I ever. Okay. So you just have to say I have or I've never. Okay. Do you want to start? Or do you want
Yes. Never have I ever multitasked during sex. Meaning done it you have.
Yes.
Okay. And
what does that even mean?
So done a totally separate activity whilst having sex.
Oh yeah, always like emails.
Yeah. So what was your multitask?
There was one that was like really funny, and I forget like if it was like I was still. Oh yeah, Jason hates this one. I was like still like brushing the dog's hair, and he's like, "Can you stop?" Like I was like grooming the dogs, and he was like, "Can you really like leave them alone?" It's so weird. Feels like I'm in a threesome with our like pets.
Tammin, have you multitasked during sex?
I've like finished emails and stuff. I've been on the phone with you, Roxy. Just kidding.
Well, I have definitely multitasked. It was the morning of our Women on Top photo shoot, and David came in with a raging heart on. I was a little horny too.
Right.
And I was still doing my skincare regime at the
time. I remember that. That's why you were so glowing that day.
Right, exactly.
That's
there you
funny.
Go. All right, Tammin, you're up.
Normally, the sex is good that I want to be present. But, yes. Okay. Never have I ever used the nose Frida on my kid and accidentally sucked some snot into my own mouth. Do you know what the nose Frida is? Right?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that either. I think they're pretty good. Like it seems like you're gonna suck it into your mouth, but you kind of like
it doesn't like
Okay, there's like a safety device there.
But I've definitely tasted snot for sure.
Have you done that, Tammin? Have you sucked?
No, it normally gets in the thing, but I've like my kid yesterday has snot everywhere that always when they go to daycare. And she just like put it in my mouth, and I was like, salty. But yes, I definitely had that in my mouth. Yes.
Oh boy.
Soxy.
Yes. Okay. Never have I ever left the house and lied to my partner and stayed gone just to get away from everybody.
Oh, I do that a lot.
It's like a weekly occurrence over here. Yeah. Right.
I do that a lot.
When he's on a movie set, you're just like, oh, I'm still here. Like, I'm on vacation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Or he'll be like, I'm taking the kids to my parents' house tomorrow. And I was like, oh, I have to work this weekend.
Yeah.
I can't come. Have fun with them. Give them my best.
Right. See him on the flip side.
Yeah.
Never have I ever kissed a girl and liked it.
Kissed a girl and liked it?
Yeah.
Oh, tons of times.
Oh, okay. Why are you asking me this question? Yes. I said to someone the other day, I was like, didn't everyone have a girlfriend when they were 25?
Yes. Didn't they? If people like aren't like kind of gay, I feel like I don't trust them completely. Like when I see girls that are like so straight, I'm like, something's weird there. Like, she's just too straight. Like there's something up. Suspicious, an alien maybe.
Okay, 2 more. Roxy?
Never have I ever been arrested.
I've been arrested.
You have?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how was it? What happened?
What was it? I was arrested when I was in high school, and it was like a car got pulled over, and there was like weed in the car, and we were there was like a curfew thing in Arizona, so they took us in on like curfew violation, and our parents had to come pick us up, and they like put us in the back of a paddy wagon, and you know, the whole time I was like trying to like win the cops over and be like, guys, really, like, you don't have to do this. And I mean, it was just terrible. It was so embarrassing. They're like, you and the clogs, get in the fucking cops.
It's the clog girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tammin, have you been arrested?
No, but when I was working in Australia, they were like, there was like a meet and greet, and they were like, get in the back of our car, the cops. And they were like, we're going to speed and go as fast as we can. So like I was 17 in the back of a cop car, and they were going so fast, going, look how cool this is. And then like someone like ran a red, and then we pulled someone over because they ran a red. And I was like, so hypocritical.
Oh my God.
I'm too much of a good, I want to be bad. Like I want to take ayahuasca, but I'm just too scared. I want to be bad. I want to do, you know, things that I shouldn't do, but I guess some drugs are fine, but yeah, I'm too scared to do anything. I want to do less. Okay. Yes. Last one. Never have I ever wanted or have hung out with Kim Kardashian.
No, I have never hung out with Kim Kardashian.
Do you want to?
I don't like know anything about them really. Like I've never watched the show, but I did have a baby nurse that like was like friends with her baby nurse. And she was like, wanted to take Sid to like their house to have a play date with Northwest years ago. And it was very strange. Cause then I guess Kim was like, didn't Jason Biggs talk shit about me and Kanye? I was like scrolling through Jason's tweets and I'm like, oh fuck, this is like a bad can of worms. Like, why are we even getting involved in this?
Oh, so no play date, no Northwest play date.
No, I was like, let's ixnay that. Let's avoid that.
Well, Jenny, thank you so much for being here. We are so
thanks for having me, you guys.
More in love. I was like,
was fun.
I was like, is it going to be, what kind of interview is it going to be? And it was exactly as I expected. It's exactly what we wanted.
Yes. Yes.
She was so glad I delivered.
You were perfection.
Well, thank you so much. And please let us know where our listeners can find you, any more information.
Yes. JennyMollen.com. Like that's where all the tickets for the, you know, if you wanted to come see any of the book tour, I have Katie Couric, I have Chelsea Handler, I have Kimberly Williams Paisley, who's going to be with me in Nashville. I have Becca Tobin, who's going to be with me in Austin. I have a great group of girls that are supporting me on the book tour. And then my podcast, Third Wheel with Jenny Mollen, is on Podcast One.
Amazing. Nice. And the book drops next week.
The book, you guys, the book is out. The book. Oh my God, the book. Every single second of my life, I'm like just trying to sell these damn pre-orders. Cause you know, the pre-orders like matter. Like if you don't, you'll never write another book again. If you don't, people don't get it. They're like, my friends are like, I'll pick it up in the store when it's out. I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like I don't show numbers that like I was able to pre-sell the book. Like I'm never gonna write another book. So it comes out June 14th. It's called City of Likes. It's available everywhere. And I'm so proud of it. It is my third child.
Oh, that's so great. Well, don't forget, and guys, our audience, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and comment so we can keep bringing you amazing guests like Jenny.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
Apparently.
Thank you.
I am Tammin Sursock.
And I am a Roxy Manning.
And we are
Women on Go, Jenny.
Jenny's like, what is this?
I was like, where are we going? Stop.